Hey, Soul Tribe. I'm KamalaDevi, and happy last new moon of 2023. So I'm on my way to the airport right now, and I wanted to give a quick share of what I've been musing on, which is right relation. This really deep, beautiful spiritual principle that changes our whole orientation to life. But before I dive into that, I just wanted to wish you the happiest holidays. I'll be spending this whole next month in the Andes and in the Amazon with my family in Peru. So I'm excited. And I'm also yeah, there's a nervousness because I mean, I love nature and hiking and trekking, but athletically, it's a pretty steep. The Incan Trail is like, 4 days of steep. So having, shared my nervousness around that, I will say that the holiday season is such a sweet time to connect with our beloveds. And I have some, tenderness around choosing to be abroad and not being with my family and friends during this time. Uh, but I can vicariously share how important relating is in my life. Obviously, it's very central. And the principle that holds me almost like a compass, like it really aligns me, is seeking right relation. And it's a holographic concept because right relation, of course, starts with the self, and also the land, the animals, the mineral kingdom, like all of the plants and the world that we live in. And of course, in the human kingdom, in the animal realm, and specifically, family and friends. When we talk about right relation, it's like getting into right connection. Doesn't mean that there's a wrong. It just means we're not like a lot like in Buddhist thought where we talk about right timing or right behavior. It doesn't mean that there's a wrong and a right. It's like, hey, you're coming from a high alignment and you're in collaboration with the ecosystem. And so right relation with our friends and family and lovers and acquaintances is an ongoing process of like tuning in and dialing and upgrading and clearing and repairing sometimes if you're off, if you're out. And so it's like an ongoing layer by layer spiral. And the way that one metaphor, so I have a couple metaphors I like to work with, and one really central one is that I'm a weaver, and as we all are in relationship to everything all the time, but as a weaver, the spider animal, the spider, like the animal medicine of spider, is a great metaphor because they have these webs that connect, these like invisible bonds. And I have, for example, a really strong, deep, invisible bond between me and Michael, or me and my son Devin, or me and my various lovers. And then there's family, and some of those are really strong. I mentioned Michael and Devin because they're like in my heart all the time. They're just really strong, and you feel it immediately if something's a little bit off, or and then there's like the stronger, farther or longer, and more subtle connections that sometimes get like outdated. Like as we grow and they grow and we're not in communication, we might feel that there's stuff that accumulates between us, almost like they become cobwebs. And so when you meet with a person who you haven't connected with in a long time, sometimes that looks like, let's catch up. Let's, what's going on in your life. And sometimes it's like, who cares what's going on? Let's be here now. Me, the new version, you, the new version. How are you now? And however you want to reconnect, create that bond, there is sometimes like a clearing out of the old in order to get here and now, fresh and new and present to like what is not just what do we need from each other, because that's part of what the personality does, but at the soul level, it's also what's the medicine exchange between us? How do I bring out the best in you? And that's like, I love that as a key guiding point to how to create right relation is ask yourself, like, what's the space at which we can bring out the best in each other? And sometimes that means let's connect more, let's get together more often, let's call each other. Sometimes to bring out the best in someone, it's let's take some intentional space. Let's give it some breathing room so that we don't activate each other or, don't like there's like an obligation that's happening in this relationship. And maybe we need to come together when we feel really called to come together. So it's, it's a dance. It's a dance to find right relation to everybody in your web. But New Year's is a wonderful time to like upgrade the web. And if you think about a spider, they have, different species have different rhythms, but some spiders like will take all their cords back. They'll take all their threads back and they'll recreate a new web every day. Like, and it's such a beautiful metaphor because it's glimmering, like it's invisible, but it sustains them and it nourishes them. And that's how our relationships, like at their best, they really nourish and sustain us. And it does take work to cultivate those relations. And you might find that you're like, wow, I only have a few strands. And this is a coming year where I want to build community. I want to create more of a network. And there might be sometimes when you go, whoa, I have so many strands. I want to focus deeper into the, more intimate relationships. And something I didn't realize, but recently science revealed a study that, the assumption is people with a small group of really deep friends are, happiest. But what they found was when you know more people and you have looser links and you have a general sense of community where you belong, that creates a lot of happiness. A lot of times when we have smaller group of friends that we're really close with, their pains are our pains. In other words, this one's going through death or an illness or whatever, and it affects us. Whereas if we have a broader group that can hold us, there's a greater sense of well-being. And I've been extending personally my wider community and feeling more held. And yeah, it's an ebb and flow at different times. We have to listen to the introvert inside each of us as well as the extrovert, and listen to the intimate needs as well as the social ones, and and maintain a balance. So I hope this inspires you for the coming year. And I was inspired, and this is kind of my PS as I wrap up, because I got a call just the other day from a very dear friend who's like sending me Thanksgiving appreciations and said, this coming year, I really want to deepen our relationship and have you be a bigger part of my life. And I thought, it's like listening to it going, what a sweet message. Like the intention, the communication of like, you're important to me. I want more of you. And it inspires me because, I want to take inventory of who do I want to be a bigger part of my life, and can I communicate that to them? So it's a really beautiful gift. And I hope you pay it forward. All right. Blessings until next year. Mwah.